Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy Matt here, and we back with another episode of Matter of Fact MMA. So today we're gonna touch on a couple of things, go over a couple of things going on in the MMA world, the MMA sphere. So let's start with last night. They had the third episode of Tough. Are you tough enough? The Ultimate Fighter. So as you could probably tell from the description of this video, I'm not gonna do a specific Ultimate Fighter breakdown or whatever, because bro, it ain't even worth it. It's gonna be the same exact thing every week, and Conor is still not delivering the goods. Once again, I'm gonna say it again. I'm not Ariel Hawani. Like, I'm not trying to be official. Like, I'm not like an official journalist, so I can kind of speak freely. Bro, the only reason anybody is ever going to tune in to the Ultimate Fighter right now in this current iteration of it is to see Conor McGregor go off the rails. That's the only reason, bro. So each episode that we watch that Conor McGregor does not go off the rails, that he doesn't walk in all keyed up, all tuned up, you know what I'm saying? Like, for every episode that he doesn't do that, it's not gonna be a good episode. Like, we're not really, no disrespect to any of those fighters in that house, but nobody is tuning in to that show to watch those fighters in that house. When we want to watch up and coming fighters or contenders, we watch the Contender Series, hence why it's called Dana White's Contender Series. And it's by far a much better show in this day and age, in this time period. Back when reality TV was the hit, yeah, The Ultimate Fighter was all right, but them days are gone. Them days are over. Even for reality TV, it ain't the same. So it's like, bruh, stop giving us, like, whatever. Can someone please go get Conor's favorite candy? Nose candy. And give it to him and let him get all keyed up and show up at the house and cause turmoil, because that's what we want to see. So once again, that didn't happen. I'm not sure, whatever, bro. It's the third episode of Tough Enough. Conor's team lost again, and Conor bought some action figures from a little kid, I think. So there you go. That pretty much sums up the third episode. Conor's still not going off the rails, still not going crazy like how we want. Let's hope that at some point the UFC digs into the footage that they might have from the house and show one of those times where Conor came in early, a little bit wired from the night before, and show us some things. So anyway, that's the end of that. Let's see. In any other news? Well, it looks like Dana White is, and this is great. This is great for Charlie Olive's fans. Charles Oliveira, the champion, has a name, and his name is Charles Oliveira. Good news for him. It is looking like he will probably be the next contender for the lightweight championship against Islam Makhachev. So we will see how that goes, how that plays out. I'm not sure if Makhachev is definitely on board for that, but that's what it's looking like is, Makhachev, you know what I'm saying, going in there to defend his championship against Charlie Olive. So we're not going to get too deep into that right now, because we want to see if they're going to actually sign that fight, because you never really know. In my opinion, I'd love to see the rematch. I'd love to see it happen. And, hopefully they get that taken care of, because, once again, the champion has a name, and his name is Charles Oliveira. So, obviously, those of us who are Charles Oliveira fans would love to see that rematch. And plus, I think it would be a good fight in the rematch. So, that pretty much takes care of that. Not a ton of other news. Israel Adesanya was on the MMA Hour, and he was doing and saying Izzy things. Outstanding fighter, outstanding champion, but I just can't get into Izzy anymore. Like, I just can't listen to the man talk at all. It's just a whole bunch of nonsense. It spews from his mouth. But nevertheless, shout out to him. He was on the MMA Hour. That was pretty cool. Let's get into. I'm gonna take a little look at my notes. Looking at my notes here, because when you get old, you need notes. Holler at me. I just want to go over this. So this weekend, we got another UFC fight night going down. Oh, and it looks like it's at the Apex, everyone's favorite, the Apex. And in the main event this weekend, we got Marvin Vettori stepping in there with Jared Cannonier in the main event. Interesting main event. Not sure how action packed it will be, but definitely interesting main event. You know, both guys. Well, one of them being Vettori has actually fought Israel Adesanya twice and lost. Jared Cannonier has only fought him once, but should definitely be an interesting matchup in the middleweight division because, who knows how much longer Izzy's going to stay around. So it's good to see. We need to see a little bit more clarity, so to speak. I can't see either one of these guys ever getting a shot at Izzy in particular again. But should Izzy lose that championship to anyone anytime soon, either one of these guys would definitely be, somewhat in the running with a win here. So we'll see how that plays out. Just taking a look at this card. Armand Petrosian is fighting. Wouldn't mind seeing that. He's fighting Christian Leroy Duncan. That should be a fairly interesting fight. Christian Leroy Duncan, a little bit newer, but it should be interesting. Kind of see what goes on in that fight. So, we'll see. He's a prospect out of United Kingdom. So we'll see how that goes. How about Pat Sabatini's fighting on this card? That's always cool. Who else is on here? Nicholas Dalby's fighting. All right. Well, that's, it is what it is for that card. That's about it for that card. I mean, it's not a ton going on this weekend's card, but you kind of needed to bridge the gap to the next show, now don't you? So that's where it is. Marvin Vettori stepping in there against Jared Cannonier. We'll see how that goes down. I'm not really too sure if I really have a pick for that fight. I would honestly say I'd probably be leaning a little bit more toward Jared Cannonier. Marvin Vettori seems like, Marvin Vettori definitely scraps, but I'm gonna lead toward Jared Cannonier. I'm not sure if he'll pull it off, but I'm a bigger fan of him than Marvin Vettori. So we'll see how it goes down. I could see Marvin Vettori winning due to a 5-round decision. I don't see him finishing Cannonier, but I can definitely see him winning by a 5-round decision, going to the judges' scorecards. But I could see Jared finishing the fight. I could definitely see him finishing via TKO, via strikes. I could definitely see him. I can't see him knocking out Vettori, but I could see him getting a referee stoppage over Vettori. More importantly, though, I could probably see him winning by decision as well, because he's definitely going to pack the power between the two guys. But, I guess if I had to choose one, I'd go along with Jared Cannonier. But, kind of is what it is with that. Outside of that, there's not a whole lot going on. Ian Gary Machado fans, he is signed to fight a welterweight fight against Jeff Neal. So that's going to go down, I believe, on that August card in Boston. I believe it's like August the 19th or something like that. So that was recently signed for all Ian Gary Machado fans. I don't know how you would pronounce that. But, yeah, that's been signed, so that should be a pretty interesting to see Ian Gary continue his climb. And outside of that, I don't have a lot else that's really going zones right now in MMA land. Not a ton really happening. Oh, what I did want to touch on, I just now thought about it. Julianna Peña was on the MMA Hour, and she was out there. This lady was out there setting fires and daring somebody to put them out. You know what I'm saying? She's on there talking mad greasy, extra greasy. Like, we talking about, local diner local diner ordering a cheeseburger and it's greasy about Amanda Nunes. I mean, she was like speaking crazy about her. And one thing you got to say about Juliana Pena is, you know, there's not a lot of validity to her points. I will say that. Not a lot at all. You know, meaning she ain't getting ready to get out there and tell the truth, but she is going to get out there and sell herself like no other. She's going to get out there and sell her fights like no other. And honestly, you got to understand, man, the division needs her. You need a person like her because without people like her, the division is boring. You know, 125 pounds, you know, shout out to Demetrius Johnson, outstanding fighter, you know, one of the greats. Not the great, in my opinion, but he's one of the greats. But here's the thing, man. When that dude was fighting in the 125-pound division in flyweights, it was boring as H. It was so boring, bro. Let's be honest. Y'all know Demetrius Johnson is off. You know he's awkward. You know, I mean, no disrespect to him, but you know he is. He didn't sell his fights to where you wanted to see him. And he thinks you got to really get out there and talk bad about your opponent to sell a fight or anything. No, sir. You can still be respectful. You can still be the nice dude that you are, the family man, so on and so forth. But, bro, sit in your locker room, sit somewhere before you get on the mic and think of a reason that anybody wants to see your fight. And when you think of that, go out there and do that. Say that. Say whatever it is. I'm sure if, you know, you seems like an intelligent guy, you can come up with a smart enough reason to sell your fight. But guys like him just won't do anything. They just sit around and expect the UFC to pour hundreds of thousands of dollars into them and sell them. No, dude, you need to sell yourself. You need to sell your fight. And they mistake it for what Conor or Kobe Covington or somebody like that does. No, you don't have to be a nuisance. You don't have to be lame. You don't have to rub everybody the wrong way to sell a fight. All you got to do is get out there and come up with a reason. Why would anybody want to see? Why would you want to watch your dusty self defend the 125-pound strap against this guy? Demetrius, why? Okay, whatever the reason is, that's what you need to go out there and say, bro. If it's just for the simple love of the game and you're a martial artist and you know and you want to go down as one of the greats, get out there and say that. Get out there and say, hey, look, you know, I'm going in there with a tough opponent. I can't wait to go in there and face him. But the reason why you guys should tune in to my fight is what I'm doing is I'm chasing greatness. I'm going out here each fight. I etch myself one little etch mark a little bit closer to being one of the greatest fighters of all time. And this Saturday night, y'all get to bear witness. Because I'm stepping in there against whoever he used to fight. You know, I'm stepping in there against this guy, and we're going to see. Can he be the one to finally knock me off my throne? Can he be the one to finally take me out the zone? Can he be the one to stop my rise to be one of the greatest fighters of all time? But the homie wouldn't do that. And it's always rubbed me the wrong way for years, being a huge fan of MMA in general, how this guy just made that the most boring division in the world, while he was one of the greatest fighters in the world. But he's expecting the UFC to sell that narrative. No, dude. The way the UFC works, take it from a poor guy in Louisville, Kentucky. The reason why the way the UFC works, you have to give them something to work with. You have to give them something to work with. Like Beneil Dariush, who fumbled the bag tremendously. Look, bro, you ain't got to get on there and talk crazy like Conor and say all this wild stuff. But after you defeat Mateus Gamrot and they ask you about, you know, who do you want to fight next? What do you want to do next? What you need not say is, I'll fight another 10 fights if I have to get a shot at the championship. No, dude. And if you're not a call-out guy, you don't have to be a call-out guy. All you have to get on the mic and say is, what more do you want from me? I've beaten everybody that you put in front of me. Give me my shot. Dana, I want my shot. Give it to me. I deserve the next title shot. That's all you got to say. Then right after you can say, all praise to God. Thank you, Jesus. You can do all that after, bro. Or you can do that first and then say what I just said after. These guys that get confused that they think they have to act like Covington. You don't have to do that. You don't have to be an a-hole about it. You don't have to do any of that. All you got to do is talk. And it's amazing to me how many of these fighters just can't simply talk. Let's go back to Julianna Peña. In a world with a lot of women's mixed martial artists, in this world they just won't talk, bro. It's like everybody's so I'm respectful and I'm this male and female. I just want to be respectful and respect the martial arts. And I was man, shut up, bro. Shut up, ma'am. Get out there and say what you need to say to get your career on track and get these fights going. Because the stars, that's what they did. Even with George Rush St. Pierre, one of my faves. You see him over my shoulder. We talking about GSP, you see him. Bro, GSP didn't get out there and trash talk, but GSP would still try to sell the fight. I mean, famously, GSP just straight stepped to Matt Hughes after Matt Hughes thought he did well in a fight. He thought he poured his heart out into a fight. GSP stepped up there. I was not impressed with your performance. Like, bro, even GSP knew he had to say something. And shout out to Julianna Peña, because whether you agree with what she's saying or not, she's saying something. No disrespect to these extremely respectful and thoughtful, nice fighters, but bro, you're not doing yourself any favors. And you're in a sport where every now and then you got to do yourself a favor. Because if you chirp at all, if you make any kind of noise, the company will get behind you and help you. But when you don't chirp, when you don't make noise, nothing happens. If you look at the history, your boy Matt is telling the truth. Kevin Lee was absolute nobody. When Kevin Lee started talking, he talked his way into a title fight with Tony Ferguson. How did it happen? Who was Kevin Lee? Who was he? I don't know. But he talked his way into that. He made noise. That's the whole point. He made noise and he got himself into that fight. How about it for all you veterans, for people who remember from back in the day? What about Anthony Pettis? Anthony Pettis was not set to get a lightweight championship fight against Benson Henderson. He was not set to do that, but he called his shot. He called his shot. He told the UFC, give me a shot at the belt. Give me a shot. I deserve it. I want a shot at the belt. I want to face Benson. I've already beaten him. I want to face Benson. The fact of the matter is when, I believe the guy's name was TJ Grant, I believe was the guy that fell out. I'm not too sure. I believe he was the one that fell out of the fight. I'm not sure about that. No, it wasn't him. Different weight class. Wasn't him. Whoever fell out of the fight, they actually gave it to Anthony Pettis. And he went on to win the championship from Benson Henderson. And it was in Milwaukee. It was a story that you couldn't have wrote in a movie that played out that way, all because he asked for it. He wasn't all quiet. Oh, I'm respectful. I'm a martial artist. I'm respectful. I'm not going to say anything. Bro, you can still be respectful and call for your shot. He called for his shot. Conor McGregor has always called for his shot. It's always worked out for him. When Khabib was all quiet and respectful, nobody was noticing Khabib. He was just winning fights. When he's thrashing Michael Johnson and he's sitting in front of Dana and he's calling, your boy's a chicken. He's a chicken. Give me my shot. When he's calling for his shot, they finally gave him the shot. You got to call for it. Izzy, from day one, was calling for a shot at the middleweight championship. And he got it. He didn't have to do too much to get it either. That's what it is. Every now and then you're going to have a guy like Poatan, like, Alex Pereira, where UFC already knows we're going to give this guy a title shot as long as he doesn't lose in his first couple fights. But for the rest of them, man, sometimes you got to say what you want, and they're going to give it to you. So shout out to Julianna Peña in a division where most women won't speak up, most women won't say anything. Everybody wants to be respectful. Everybody wants to be quiet. Julianna is out there making waves, and she has been. She has been ever since she won the Ultimate Fighter. She's been calling her shot. And if it wasn't for injuries and everything, and Amanda possibly, not really, not dodging her as in she was scared, but just not really wanting to fight her, it took her longer to get that title shot. But once she got that title shot, guess what? She won the title, and now she's a household name. Now she's a champion, a former champion. And more than likely, given the history of women's MMA, she probably bought herself a way into the Hall of Fame by talking her way into that title fight and winning the championship and dethroning Amanda Nunes at that time. Doesn't matter, Amanda came back and beat her. Doesn't matter. She's liable. She's going to go into the Hall of Fame more than likely. I mean, so it's, female mixed martial arts. You got to put her name in there. I'm not saying she is a Hall of Famer, but she probably got her name in the books. That's what I mean. So if a fighter ever watches this, I mean no disrespect to anybody, but I'm telling you what I know. You got to say something. You got to speak up. You can't be boring your whole life. In no sport, the nice guy in any sport is just like whatever. And doesn't matter how good you are at your particular sport. If you're boring, you're boring, And I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that he's such a savage on the court, especially behind the three-point line, no one would care about Steph Curry. He's too nice. He doesn't have anything going on. But this man's skill level speaks volumes, because regardless of being nice on the mic and at the press conferences and everything, Steph Curry will murder you on the court. He will literally savagely murder you. And people can see that intensity in his game, so it still counts. A lot of these fighters don't even really have an intense fighting style. And you're still like, bro, I mean, it's just what it is. You got to speak up. You got to say something. So just wanted to touch on that. Shout out to Julianna Peña for doing her thing. The Venezuelan vixen out here making waves. So shout out to her. Yeah, that's what it is, though. I appreciate everyone for joining me for this video today for another episode of Matter of Fact MMA. I appreciate all of that. Thank you guys for checking out each video you've ever watched. If you ever watched one, I definitely do appreciate it. Thanks. I mean, I just can't thank you enough for watching these. And I'll check you next time. Peace.